Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining our Data Byte session, this summer session on our digital ESG tools for medium-sized companies in the manufacturing industry. Let's wait for another half a minute to let the late joiners also come into the room, and then we will start with our today's session. So once again, hello everyone, and welcome to our Data Byte session. Today's session will focus on digital ESG tools for medium-sized companies in the manufacturing industry. I suppose that most of you or us know that this is a topic which is very hot right now because of the upcoming regulation of the European Union. So today it's me doing this moderation of this Data Byte session. Thank you, Rosina, for giving me the opportunity to moderate this session. The first task that Rosina gave me is to mention that you should use the Q&A function of Zoom to post your questions that are directed to me or to Gernot, who will be the presenter today. We will answer these questions during the presentation or afterwards. So thank you for your participation. And now, without any further ado, let me introduce you to today's topic and today's guest. So how EAT manufacturing as an innovation community in the manufacturing area came to the topic of ESG, and how did we started to collaborate with our partners from the TU Wien, was that we saw that the ESG topic is a very, very present topic in all of the media in the manufacturing sector. And there's a lot of information, and there is also a lot of confusing informations. And we saw by talking with our partners that many companies, and especially small and medium-sized companies that are not able to pay that much money for consultants, and they which don't have that much time to, let's say, do stuff that is not their core business, are a bit confused of what this ESG and CSRD and ESRS is bringing to them and how to tackle those challenges. And what we did was that we basically started to collaborate with our core member, the Technical University of Vienna. And we said that we will find a manufacturing company, mid-sized company, which is interested in doing a pilot with us, where they can test ESG tools and where they can adapt their processes so the relevant information comes together at one point, and that they can basically report their ESG. And that's where my today's guest is coming in, Gernot Pöchgrabner. He's the head of the Working Group for Process and Innovation at the Institute of Production Engineering of TU Wien. Moreover, he works as a management consultant in the field of digital and sustainable production, and he's a co-founder and partner in various companies. Hello, Gernot, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Great, Gernot, maybe as you are a really business-oriented person, one of your first startups is Unique Ski, which is a very Austrian one. You produce tailor-made skis for, let's say, high-performing sportsmen. My question is, why are you interested in ESG, and what is for a guy like you interested from the business perspective? Because usually if we talk to company representatives, they say the topic is just not interesting for them, or they are afraid of it, and they say it's basically something which destroys their business or which is lowering their potential for growth. So what is your interest? Where's your interest coming from?
Yeah, as you mentioned in the second part, it's actually that the companies are very often afraid of it. So I would say at the SMEs, it's actually that they don't know what to do and what is coming up. And it was a bit by accident with other projects, what I'm doing, that a lot of company partners, they were asking me about this topic, and if we know what's coming and how to help. And that was actually the thing that I said, okay, there is something coming up and I should go a bit more in detail. And of course, in my function as a consultant, it's also that I have to help them and have to give them some tools for doing this. And that was also the reason that I got interested in it, and actually to make that new topic what will infect the European industry in the next decades a lot, and also our environment, how to deal with it and how to make it as easy as possible for medium-sized companies who cannot actually have an extra area with 30 people who are looking after this topic. That was the main reason why I get involved to this topic.
Yes, and that's basically where we found each other, because that is also our interest at ED Manufacturing to, let's say, provide a toolbox to companies where they can see, okay, which tools are relevant for my business model and which tools are relevant for my company size, to support them in fulfilling the regulations, obligations, but also to be a serious partner for their customers and for the whole supply chain. So before we deep dive into the actual digital ESG tools, I will make a quick overview of what ESG is and what the current status of the regulation of CSRD is for medium-sized companies. And then I think most of you guys are waiting for that. We will present some digital ESG tools that we are currently piloting with our company partners for our toolbox. So what is ESG? As you probably know, as I said, it's basically environmental, social, and governance impact. So you have different environmental aspects, which are on the one hand resource consumption. That means which kind of water and marine resources you are using, or what kind of or what amount of land and material is your business model dependent on. On the other hand, you have also the topic of environmental damage. That is on the one hand, the greenhouse gas emission, but it's also about how much waste you produce and how much waste you have to basically bring into the environment. The third part of the environmental segment is, of course, climate change. Here, the one way of this topic is how your business model is basically contributing or maybe not contributing to the climatic changes. But on the other hand, also a very important aspect, how the climate change is actually impacting your business model and what are your measures to adapt on that. The second part, which is somehow still understandable for many people, so the one dimension is the customer, which means what's my value delivery to the customer? How does my product impact the health and safety of the customer? And the third part also, how do I actually work with the private data of my customer, which in Europe we know under the topic of GDPR. The second dimension is workforce. Here it's about, let's say, how do I care about the health and safety of my employees? Do I have some policies for managing discrimination, harassment issues in my company, for instance, or what are my daily labor practices? The third dimension is the community, which means, do I have business ethics? What is my business model based on? Is it ethical? And then you have also the aspect of social cohesion. What is especially something maybe not that common or not that easily understandable, especially for medium-sized companies, is the corporate governance part. So the corporate governance part is about conducting internal audits, having a working operational model, being open for external audits and inviting external auditors, but also to having, for instance, a supervisory board that actually checks how my corporate governance is working and how it's in place. The regulational and legal compliance is mostly about do I pay taxes? How is my competitive behavior? And also an important fact in the EU regulation is what are my lobbying activities and what kind of, how much money do I spend for lobbying? So why is all of this important, especially for SMEs? The one topic which is of course now, which is why the topic is now very, very present, is that you have to fulfill regulatory compliance. So some of the SMEs will be forced by law to actually do their ESG reporting. The second part is stakeholder trust, which means does my supplier or does my customer actually trust me in what I'm doing? And if my customer, for instance, is forced to do the reporting, does he has the data, the access to the data he needs from my reporting? So this is something which will be very important in the future. And of course, because the European financial system will be also influenced by the EU taxonomy laws. There will be a benefit for companies if the bank sees that there is an ESG report and the company is working towards ESG compliance, because there will be an easier access to finance. An aspect that is often neglected by the companies is that it's basically a part of the risk management. So if you do your ESG report, you can easily use the data for mitigating and analyzing your risk potential. This could be, for instance, the risk of floods in your area where your production is, or how your whole business model is actually impacted by the climate change. The last part is basically connecting the three parts before together. That's the competitive advantage. That could be, on the one hand, the customer that is seeking for products that are actually sustainable and are fulfilling the ESG criteria. But on the other hand, as we know nowadays, it's hard to get young people to work for a company. And if you show that you're committed to ESG goals, then it's easier for you to attract new employees. I will fly through the slides because it's pretty exhausting. So the regulation, as you know, in Europe for ESG is called CSRD, Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, and the standard, which is then basically the base for the reporting, is ESRS. Not all SMEs will be actually forced by law to do this reporting. It will affect small and medium companies that are publicly listed on the one hand, but on the other hand, there will be reporting possibility for even small and medium-sized companies, which is called voluntarily which is called voluntarily reporting in CSRD, which means that the European Union wants to give the opportunity to even small and medium-sized companies to be able to report and to get access to sustainable finance and to get basically a standardized report for their value chain. One question that is usually arising around the topic is the question of the double materiality. So that means, as I already mentioned, you don't have just to see how your company impacts the society and the environment, but you also have to report how the expected changes in the society and in the environment are actually impacting your business model. So the current status of ESRS for SMEs is basically that the European Union is preparing the last, basically we are in the last mile of defining the actual reporting directive. So EFRAG is the institution that is in charge of implementing the CSRD and to creating the ESRS standards. And in autumn 2024, we will have a hopefully final version of the LSME, which is targeting this listed SMEs, which will be forced to do their reporting. On the other hand, we will also have the VSME, which is the voluntary sustainable reporting standard for non-listed SMEs. And this standard will be designed for small and medium-sized enterprises, as I said, that wants to do the reporting on the one hand for fulfilling the needs of their customers, but on the other hand also for getting the possibility to access sustainable finance and to get better conditions for financing their new ideas. So you see here, because usually if you talk about CSRD and ESRS, the discussion is a bit abstract. We wanted to actually show you the data points that are needed for the full ESRS disclosure, which means this is what large companies have to report on. You can use the link and see an Excel sheet that is provided by EFRAG, where you see basically all of the topics that are in there and all of the data points you have to collect for the reporting. On the right hand, you see that EFRAG and the European Union is aware that the amount of data points which are asked is pretty high, and that the resources of smaller medium-sized companies are limited. So that's why they reduced the amount of reported data points by 48% is the estimation. The structure of the voluntary SME is that you have basically 3 modules. And you have 4 different options of how you use these modules. So the first option is you do just the basic reporting. The second option is you do basic reporting with policies, action, targets modules. And the third option is that you do just basic and business partner modules. The option 4 is that you do everything. If you're asking yourself what the modules are consisting of, then let me come to the next slide. Here you have the detailed view of how these modules are built. We have the basic module, which you have to do. If you want to report, you have to finish the basic module for sure. Here you have the 3 metrics which we were talking about before, so environmental, social, and governance metrics. It's usually focusing on, as we said before, how much water you consume, how much resources do you use, what's your circular economy score, what do you do with your waste, and so on. The second part is focusing on the policies, action, and targets modules. Here it gets more deeply into what is your strategy and what are your initiatives related to sustainability and to the social goals. Also, you have to show how you manage your current, or how you manage your strategy for future actions. The third part, the partners module, is especially important for the access to finance. So if you want to get better conditions at your bank in the future, it's important for you to do this business partner module, because the EU taxonomy is basically based on that. And it's focusing on, for instance, revenues from certain sectors, transitions plans for climate change mitigation, physical risk from climate change, and so on. So in our preparation for our pilot project, as I said, we focused on actually talking to companies and asking what the challenges are for them when it comes to ESG reporting. And we identified these 4 main issues. The first was, of course, data quality. So nowadays, as you know, we talk about digitalization, but still the data is not always complete. Sometimes there are mistakes in the data. Sometimes you have different data sources which you have to bring together, and at the end you can have the fanciest ERP system, but usually you end up with an Excel sheet. So the data quality is something which is a pretty big concern in the companies. The second part was the integration of these processes and of the tools for reporting. So the companies were basically struggling with really having one person or one department where all of the information is coming together, because so far they are used to have the financial department that is basically just considering the financial numbers, but the CSRD directive is focusing on basically the whole business, which is a new challenge and which needs new processes. Of course, costs are always the problem, so it's for sure connected to additional costs to have a good, or even to have any sort of ESG reporting. And the last part is the expertise, which is usually missing in the companies, and there is a missing know-how from in the company of what do they have to report and what do they have to fulfill. And at this point, I would like to give over to Gernot, who will present the technological tools and maybe elaborate on some parts of what I said so far.
So thank you very much, David. Yeah, so let's jump maybe in the second part. So first of all, what we want to create with that together is some what we call an ESG starter. So that should be like how we will create this toolbox for SMEs. So our goals about this was to pilot report generation, that we have digital tools for the ESG reporting, that we have an ESG roadmap definition for improved decision making, and that we have a competitive advantage as well, so that also small and medium-sized companies can go this without a heavy personal force. Then we're paving the way for the CSRD. So we defined there a future roadmap and integrating reporting system. Then one thing would be the assessing the reporting and the readiness of the company. And at the end, we are piloting these ESG tools. As David said before, so we have one pilot project with an Austrian company now, where we try some of these tools because there are a lot of the market, and to get sure actually which one will be fit in our toolbox and which one will fit not. And we are completely at the beginning, but we had a lot of talks with some of these tool providers or companies who are offering tools like this. And a little overview of them I will give to you, especially that one what we will test what we find out to test in the next weeks and months in our pilot project. So if we go now to the tools, I start with the first one. First one is called a company Greenometer. It's not as well a tool, so it's more a platform. So what Greenometer does and says is actually that they developed an application. It's called the Greenometer Studio, where you can calculate the carbon footprint of the company and the products, the preparation for the CSRD, including this dual materiality, and the EU taxonomy analysis for the supply chain management and also the deforestation, the protection against this. So this platform actually offered a red dot through the reporting, and you have 4 things what you will earn if you go through this through this platform. You get the carbon footprint, so you have the calculation from scope 1 to 3 emissions. What they say is accurate and faster than others, of course, because they have a guidance there. Then you have the product carbon footprint, what measures the emission of the product in the entire life cycle. You have the carbon tax CBMA, so it's direct and indirect emissions for the tax calculations. And you have the non-financial reporting, so the ESG reporting as David explained before, so with CSRD, SFDR, GR, TTP, second party for green bonds and SLLs. So that's the thing what they are offering in the platform, but you have to bring your own data. That's really important if you compare it to other tools. Yeah, and to have a look on this, I just want to bring you shortly an overview. So the platform looks like where you have the red dot. You also know what's the data input is, and then if you go through this here, now we are at the scopes, for example. What brings the company? I will just fasten this a bit up because we are running out of time. So it's really necessary to fill everything in. Then what is really good, actually, you also have a little explanation about this everything else. And if you have requested and upload everything what you gives you, so about invoices, reports, and then in the account, you see all questions regarding the other topics. And then you also see where you are based in. You have charts, overview. It's a bit exhausting because it's a lot, but actually this platform covers a lot in that case as well. That you see also all the reporting schemes, what you have done previous. Then about the text, you have also like a little AI generation tool what helps you there as well to generate the text. So they go with you to all the topics of the reporting, and it brings you then to the end that you can download actually the reports as you need it at the end. And you see then in the overview what you have there and how far away there. So that's actually a little overview about this. What I highly recommend is that you go on the website of Greenometer. There you can see and have a lot of inspirations and interpretations of them, and we will share these slides afterwards, and you can have a look there as well, or contact them if you're interested to use that platform. So that would be a platform solution. Then we jump in the next company. Company is called Floodlight. That's an US-based company, but they have now founded a company in Austria as well, where they have representatives there as well. And it's a satellite-based emissions and climate hazard data. So they really provide you this data. It's with the spectrometry and photospectrometry approach, what you have with satellite data, what they are using, what they provide you on this satellite-based data. So they have scope 1 GHG emissions measurement, scope 2 as well, and the assessment, and of course the climate hazards and risk assessment. So what is really accurate there is that they have it in past, present, and futures. So they can look with the data what they're using from 2012 to do a forecast in the future to 2100 about the climate hazards as well. How does this work at the climate hazard? So there are 28 climate hazards what the European Union aligned. You have different scenarios how you can look at this, and you have also the time horizon, as I said, until 2100, and you have a predictability of 1, 5, or 10 years. And the output, the deliverables are the assets company and the portfolio level analysis. You have a data visualization. You have also like a kind of platform with an analytic tool and quality assessment there as well. Of course, there's a risk hotspot mapping there as well. So what's the approach of this company? They are starting there with like a hazard screening. Afterwards, they do a hazard assessment. Then they look at the physical risk. Then they do the financial impact with the transition risk. And last but not least, they have the climate via air. What's the climate value at risk, what they are providing there as well. So if we go further, how look like the deliverables? You have on the one side a comprehensive reporting, what you get just actually with the address as more accurate, that you can provide the data as better are the results. So that means if you know really how the building look like, it's also possible to get a more accurate standard out there. So then you have this geospatial insights, what you have directly from the satellite pictures, where you have also the insights about their photogrammetric approach and how actually they measure the footprints and the scope. So you get this as well. And then you have also a powerful analytic tool, and they will also go in future to do like provide some optimizations and to see actually how you can optimize this as well, and to have a look on the data. So how they provide it? They provide it after different forms. So over API is possible. You have cloud service direct download. Also the platform, what they use, where also the analytic tools are as well. So the team behind, I just want to show you this as well. Nate Wein, he's in charge about the Austrian office. So he's in Vienna, and happy to speak with him if you want to contact him with the team. And also worth to say that Dr. Sushi Gopal, she is professor on different universities and is also holding lectures in Austria for the last 10 years about data science and AI topics regarding sustainability. So that would be then the last one for Floodlight. So then we go to the next tool. Sorry, I have to hurry up a bit because time is running. So it's a company called Rethink. It's a Vienna-based company, and they are doing a bit, so they bit have an overlap with Floodlight, but what they do next to the climate, they also do the biodiversity and ecosystem analyze, what is really necessary there as well, and really important. So what is their approach? It is actually that they do a science-based, user-friendly solution to manage nature impact. So they have, on the one hand, the reporting in accordance with regulations and the standards. You can use it directly. They have the nature management to understand the impacts, the opportunities, and the risk. And out of this, they are also creating strategies for setting goals and transforming business models there as well. So that's also one point, what they are providing there. What is the physical risk overview? So they say they also just need a minimal input per asset. So they need the location, what means the coordinates, the address, and best, of course, the shape. Then the business activity, what you see at the NACE code or the European Union taxonomy activity. And then they have a couple of optional input, what you can put to get the best data. Then, of course, they getting extensive data for the climate scenario, also until the year 2100, but they have a data approach and not the completely with the satellite pictures approach. And they have also for all risks this worldwide coverages in the backend to have access to this data. Yeah, and what they offer is then a transparent result. So individual reports for the detailed assessment of the potential risk and each asset, and it's audit compliance through the documentation and the methodology. What they use, you can directly use this for it. I also brought a little video here, what just sees how the approach is about this product demo of Rethink. So it's quite nice to have a look on this platform as well, where you basically just have a world map where you can add a location, and there you put in the address, actually what you need, and then can reach actually exactly where you want to do is and what is need. Give him the NSCA code and the date where you want to have the report. You can then save the location, and then the next step you get all the climate change, the biodiversity and ecosystem data out of it, what you can use, of course, and then you have at every point also where the sources are come from, what's the scoring mean, and a lot of side info about this as well. Yeah, and then of course you can do the report and yeah, access the report then as well. So that's also a thing how they are working. So then let's jump over there. So just to the USB over them from them. So this multifactorial risk and scenario coverage, they have transparent methodology and a worldwide coverage and high resolution, that what they are offer in their tools. Yeah, there I also have the contact for you if you want to contact them and you need any help there as well. Yeah, then I have one company, what is not the new one, it's quite a very innovative company, what I really like, and also not the completely new one, that we also can use for the social aspect of the ESG reporting, because it also means that you need the possibility to have a look of your suppliers and also what they are doing, and if they are behave in the right way. And their pre-wave comes in the game, what you can use in the report, that you're using that tool for finding the risk and the monitoring. So just a quick overview. If you, I think that nearly everyone in the group will know them. So what they are doing is AI risk and sustainable monitoring, and I pick one thing out, what they did with monitoring, risk alert, and supply chain. So it means that over news, social media, and online media, of course, they are creating some special AI-based data, what impacts a supplier of a company, and about of this they are doing like a risk monitoring and risk forecast. How is the approach there? So sorry for that. So the approach is actually that they find and monitor your supplier, then they monitor it the whole time. And once they receive a risk alert, you can directly contact the supplier and have a chat with him about this. Or in step 4, you also can automate this task and assign that this can to a representative like the procurement manager to go there and have a look, that he can have a look on this. So that's a thing, what you also a tool what you can use to for the social aspect, that you work with them, what also fits very good in the report. So that was now a little overview for the first tools what we are going with, and then I want to show you again our ESG starter roadmap. So what is actually the thing what we are doing now in our pilot project? So we have like an initial consultation we are now at the needs assessment, what really these SMEs or the pilot partners are doing. Then we are piloting the tools, what they need, and try what they really what comes out there. Also, where we have an overlap, we compare them to each other, and then we have a tool evaluation and recommendation as well for their strategy and the future roadmap, what then SME can actually do towards their sustainability journey in reporting. So we are now in one pilot project. We are very happy to do some more, to test some more tools. So, and we are really open to have companies who can do this pilot project with us, and as well as companies who are offering tools for the toolbox, that in the near future, that should be the goal, that there is a recommendation for a toolbox for SMEs there as well, to help them and guide them to this quite exhausting, but also a deep insight process. Yeah, so that would be from my side about this, and I think I hand over to David again.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Gernot. Again, as Gernot said, you are welcome to contact us if you have a tool that you actually would like to share with us and you would like to test it in a real environment in an SME. On the other hand, if you are coming from a manufacturing company that is currently, let's say, considering doing their ESG reporting and using digital tools for that, and you are basically finding your way through this jungle of different tools, we are here to support you, and we can start with you a similar ESG starter project like we did with our automotive supplier company. Now there's still some room for questions, so you can, as said in the beginning, you can use your Q&A window to ask your questions. If there are not any, I don't see any right now. No. Looks like everything was clear. So, oh.
Okay.
I can't copy the feedback link.
I think the feedback link was provided in the chat, yeah? Okay, I will try it. Okay, I will copy it again from my position. Maybe then it's possible. For me, it was possible to copy.
Okay, but it works for me as well, so.
Yeah.
There is a question, as small and medium business, which tool would I now choose based on your expertise? Gernot, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so actually from my side, I think the approach what we have done now is, if you actually want to do really the come in the reporting and have a look and come into it, I think this platform approach from Greenometer is quite a good one. And basically the other tools, to have a look what means with scope 1 and 2, and even a bit of scope 3. This floodlight as well as the rethink approach is a quite good one. It's in combination. It also depends a bit what you need more, but this very accurate, I have to say.
Yeah, also what maybe we should stress here, it's at that point of time, it's basically necessary, or in most of the cases necessary, to either get some experts to your company, so to hire someone who really has the expertise, who has the background and can guide you through, or you get external experts which can support you in doing that. So even if you go with a platform solution, from our expertise, you usually need a training at the beginning to get the understanding of what kind of data you will need and what are the first steps before even starting with putting your data on the platform. So that's what we learned. But as Gernot said, I agree, the platform solution from Greenometer, and I think there are some others also out there, are something which are a great start because it's basically an automated guidance for you. Great. Then I have another question. Is there a service to outsource the reporting? So yeah,
So
I already touched it, Gernot, if you want to.
So I would say maybe I didn't mention it because of the time. There is most of these platforms like Greenometer, they offer a consultancy service as well in the beginning, because you need this consultancy to go through this process. But I think at the end of the day, the approach is at most of these platform solutions that at the end of the day you should do it by yourself or in the company by some employees, but just maybe after the second or third time. So most of them will guide you through the first year, definitely to the first reporting, and will also cover you with some help in the next years. But it will be definitely a lot of consultancy needing at the beginning, so that you can completely outsource it. It's because of the data exchange really, really hard. Parts of them, yes, but parts of them definitely not. Yeah, I would say.
Then there is a last question we can cover, that is what the penalties are for non-compliance. So I did the research for the CSRD, and the issue is that many of the states, like it's a European directive, and many of the states did not implemented it into national law. I know that France did, and that there are some financial penalties which are pretty high. Moreover, if you don't do your ESG reporting, or if you have some fraud in it, you not only have to pay fees, you can be also charged directly as a responsible person for that. So in worst case, you could get to prison if you're the responsible manager of the company. Plus, there is also the possibility to exclude you from any public offerings or public, let's say, call for proposals for covering some public works. So it's could be really damaging. But I think for SMEs, the penalties are not that relevant, a part of the listed ones. But the biggest issue is the connection to the EU taxonomy, which means you will have a bad time while you're seeking for financing opportunities from banks to finance your future projects. And also you will have probably troubles to explain to your customers, especially the larger customers, why you are not providing the ESG reporting. So that was the last question. At that point of time, I would like to say thank you to all of to our audience. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, we will share these slides with you, and there will be the email address of Gernot and mine as well. If you are interested in joining such a project, or if you are interested in maybe also doing ESG starter projects with us, let us know. And I would like, to say thank you and have a nice day and enjoy your lunch break.
Thank you very much.